Hello and welcome to the Beginners Drawing Taster class, where we will be focusing on giving you 28 tips and techniques to be able to know how to draw in proportion, as well as help you to learn how to make your drawings stand out with 3-dimension. The first top 10 tips that I'm going to give you are focusing around drawing in proportion. When you are drawing in proportion, our first tip is to press lightly. Don't be afraid of making a mistake. So many people, when they're drawing, put pressure on their pencils when they're drawing. It's a lot harder to fix a mistake with a hard line. So press lightly is your tip number 1. Tip number 2, use more than one line and stay away from your eraser. If you look over here, there's more than one line, and that creates movement in your drawings. When you stay away from the eraser, it prevents you from becoming stressed out. Tip number 3, try not to focus on getting your drawing or proportion right the first time you draw your picture. What you're doing is you're looking to teach your eyes how to listen to your hands and work with your brain when drawing. So the first couple of drawings are going to be out of proportion. And then as and when you keep on looking at your drawing, you start making changes. Tip number 4, look and find universal shapes in your pictures. So what is a universal shape? Your square, triangle, oval, circle, rectangle. When you find universal shapes in your drawings, you simplify difficult subject matters. So if we had to look at this drawing, we have an oval. We can either have a rectangle for the body or an upside down triangle. The neck can be a square. The base can be a square, or this could be an upside down triangle, both ways. Tip number 5, compare universal shapes to others and look at each universal shape next to each other. So for example, your oval is a lot smaller than your upside down triangle. Your square is a lot smaller than your oval. And what you're doing is you're teaching your eye to actually look at the picture and look at the actual sizes of the universal shapes. Not only are you looking at the sizes, but you're looking at one size next to the other. This triangle would be possibly longer than that triangle. Tip number 6, look at the distance between each subject. For instance, if you had something next to this picture, you would look at what is the distance between those two. How far is this line close to the other one? How far is this line close to that one? That's what you're looking for. Tip number 7, look at the length and width of your shapes. So our universal shapes, what we were speaking about before, you can have a flat square which is quite short, or a very long rectangle that is quite thin. You can have a thin triangle or a thicker triangle. Tip number 8, use your other shapes to help you draw how big or small you need to go. So for instance, if I look at this size of this shape, I can see that it is half the size of this picture over here, or this shape. Tip number 9. Create a box to draw in when you are drawing your picture. The reason why you do that is so that your picture does not fall off the canvas or the piece of paper. Many people start drawing in detail and their pictures fall off the bottom of the page. Try and keep your picture within that box that you have decided to put your picture into. The other, last 10th technique in drawing in proportion is turn your picture upside down. When you turn your pictures upside down, you start looking at lines and shapes more than the actual drawing. It teaches your eye to then simplify and find an easier way to look for your shapes. The next 8 tips we're going to focus on making your pictures stand up off the page, making them 3-dimensional. When you're looking to make your picture 3-dimensional, what you're looking at on tip number 11 is where is your light coming from? What side is the lightest area? Where is your light direction? Tip number 12, you're looking at what would be the darkest area. Where is the shadow side? Mostly. Tip number 13, once you have found which side is the dark side and which side is the lighter side, you then have a side in the middle which creates your grey areas. Tip number 14, on the light sides, try to keep your pencil lines as light as possible. Tip number 15, when shading in the darker areas, press harder with your pencil. Tip number 16, when shading in the grey areas, press lighter than what you would press in the darker areas. When shading in the light areas, tip number 17, your pencil should only lightly touch the surface of the page like a feather. Tip number 18, when you are shading, try to go in different directions and not just one direction of shading. Drawing can seem difficult and scary, especially when you don't know where to start. Our beginner's drawing course consists of 2 separate courses. The first course, which is 10 classes, focuses on how to draw in proportion. You're given all the techniques you need to know and understand how to create successful proportion, as well as lines, how to approach your lines, and how to approach drawing on a piece of paper. Our second part of our beginner's drawing course consists of 10 classes, which focuses on how to create 3-dimension successfully, as well as create that soft effect when you're doing your shading from dark to light. All classes are demonstrated with very easy step-by-step methods, helping you achieve 3-dimension and proportion successfully. For more information, please visit us at www.changewitharts.com. Looking forward to connecting with you, and you will receive all the techniques and more to become a successful person in drawing proportion, as well as creating 3-dimension. Take care for now.